former number 1 pick of the Houston Texans in 2014. Berman asked Clowney, hey, would you be open to playing for the Texans again? Here's what Clowney had to say.
It'd be nice to be here. I mean, all my family here, friends here. The guys I work out with can help me take care of my body a lot better being right up under them. That's all I was thinking about, something like that. But you never know. You never know what happens. You never know what's in front of me. I see they putting the pieces together. I'm a big fan of a new head coach. You know, they got some guys up front I think can go. Malik. And they just got the rookie this year. This will be a big thing to see what they do this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, especially some here. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
Rare Candy on twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5 asks, what is the fascination with re-signing Houston athletes who failed for us? Talks about James Harden, who we discussed in the last segment. He brings up Jadeveon Clowney. Unpopular opinion. Jadeveon Clowney maybe didn't live up to the billing that comes with being the number 1 overall pick in that 2014 NFL draft. But Clowney was a damn good, at times great player. One of the best run defenders that we've seen in the NFL over, I would say, the past decade. And if you saw the guy line up on the interior of the defensive line and the amount of power that he was able to blow back offensive linemen, you can't say that the guy's a bust, which I know is a popular thing to do here in Houston. His first season, the Texans messed that up by having him play on that pallet grass field. His foot gets stuck in the field. His knee was busted. His first 2 years, he was dealing with that knee injury. His third and fourth year, he played well here. But the Texans thought to themselves, we're not going to give him a long-term contract, much like we're not going to give the long-term contract to Mario Williams. He goes to the Bills. They trade him to Seattle. I watched him up in Seattle. The sack production wasn't there, but the actual impact on a game was there. And what I've always found funny is if you hate the Philadelphia Eagles, you should love Jadeveon Clowney, because Clowney used to just abuse Eagles quarterbacks. You might have remembered back in the 2018 season, I think it was either a Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve game between the Texans and Eagles, and Clowney absolutely drilled Foles after a play. It was definitely a bit of a cheap shot. So my mom, who was an Eagles fan, hated Jadeveon Clowney for a while. So when I was doing radio in Seattle with the Seahawks about to play the Eagles in a game where Jadeveon Clowney busted an Eagles quarterback, and then he would do it a little bit later in that year, I asked my mom for her thoughts on Jadeveon Clowney because she thinks he's a meanie pants. This is what my mom had to say. What did you think about the play where Jadeveon Clowney hit Carson Wentz from behind?
Jadeveon, oh my goodness, you were naughty. You were just a naughty boy. You know, after McDougal knocked him down, didn't quite have to bang your helmet into his helmet. I do like Jadeveon's play.
Yeah.
He was effective. I don't know whether you want to assassinate the other quarterback, but there you go.
Football's a violent game, though, Mom, as I've said before.
It is. It is, Paul. You're lucky I let you play it. But I've come to like Clown. I feel like he's my bad son. You know? Like he's bad, he's naughty, but I do think he's effective. He knows he crossed the line. I'd like to meet his mother. I'd like to meet his mom and see what she says. Because we like our boys to be nice and good and kind.
So that's my mom. After the Seahawks again played the Eagles in the playoffs, my co-host in Seattle decided to tell Jadeveon Clowney about his co-host's mother, who was an Eagles fan and thought that Clowney was mean. And Clowney proceeded to troll my mom.
I'm sorry to send your guys home today. How you doing, Kitchen? It's your boy J.D. Clowney here. I just come to say, bye, Eagles, bye. Not fly, Eagles, fly. No, I'm joking.
Kitsy was a little worried or upset at last year's hit on Nick Foles.
Oh, she gonna hate me this year probably. I'm sorry, Kitsy, but I'm just playing a game. I had no intentions to hurt him.
Any parting words for Kitsy?
Any party words? Have fun in the offseason, Kitsy. I'll see you second round.
So awesome. So I love Clowney because of that moment right there. I think he's goofy. I do wonder how the Texans would view him returning. I think that Nick Caserio and the relationship that I'm assuming some sort of relationship he had with Bill O'Brien would perhaps give pause to bringing him back in. I know there's this idea of swarm and you want to have guys who are busting their ass at all times. And there have been moments where Clowney's effort in practice has been called out. I would say Clowney's effort in games should never be called out. Anyone who's doing that is being disingenuous. So I'd point to the afternoon show at the flagship station on that front. I would love to see Clowney back here. The defensive line needs all the help it can get, and I don't think you're going to have to pay him that much to get him out there. I guess the real question is, what kind of effort would you expect from him if the Texans brought him back? But that moment where he's roasting my mom for being an Eagles fan is all time. The best part, my co-host Danny in Seattle told me that Sal Paolantonio was standing right by. Sal Paolantonio was like a pissed off Eagles fan masquerading as an ESPN reporter, and he was fuming while that moment happened. And I loved it. So I would love to see Jadeveon Clowney back here. It's kind of strange that for the majority of my career, I have been where Jadeveon Clowney is and generally caping for him. He wasn't a bust. You can't say he was a bust. Did he deliver as the number 1 overall pick? No, Mario Williams didn't really either. But the guy's been a productive NFL player. He just had the unfortunate burden on his shoulders of trying to live up to being the number 1 overall pick. But no team has clearly viewed him as a franchise changer. No team's given him that long-term contract after he was taken first overall. But I like him. I like Clowney. I hope they bring him back. That'll be fun.
It really is funny that, Harden, Clowney, Hopkins, like all these guys from 2018, they're just going to be right back.
It's nuts.
Or at least there's the opportunity for all. Like, it's not crazy that any of those three are just going to be back in the city of Houston.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Sean, because I think what's really interesting to note with DeAndre Hopkins is there was talk, hey, he might get traded. There's no market for him. So I'm wondering if the Cardinals maybe release him and then some team is willing to trade like a 6th or a 7th round pick or something like that over the coming weeks. But if Hopkins gets released, the Texans should make a phone call too. And I get it. Like, there might be some hurt feelings, but Hopkins, I think his issues were all with Bill O'Brien and probably with Jack Easterby. Those guys are gone. I would not have a problem with making that phone call. Now, Hopkins is probably going to ask for a lot of money. I think that's the difference between him and Clowney. Clowney, I think, is just looking for work, but doesn't want to be a part of the offseason program.
Yeah. So Clowney/Hopkins to the Texans, Harden to the Rockets.
Not that one.
Can we get like Marwin Gonzalez to the Astros?
I wouldn't mind that.